Good evening and welcome to the Township Board of Trustees. Public hearing for budget appropriation ordinances for fiscal year 22-23. I am calling the meeting to order. Lorraine, would you call roll?
Trustee Oakram?
Present.
Okay. Trustee Stoll? Absent. Trustee Riccordani?
Present.
And Trustee Ferguson? Absent.
And then Sue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Colter.
And here. Okay, so we do have a quorum, and Mary is stuck in traffic, and she will be here in just a few minutes. First off, I want to have a motion to waive the clerk reading of the public notice. Copies are available and posted on the township website.
Sorry. So moved. Second.
Lorraine, call roll.
Okay. Trustee Oakram?
Aye.
Trustee Riccordani?
Aye.
And Supervisor Colter?
Aye. So that passes. So first up is the road, and Andy, if you would like to talk a little bit about what is the budget for the month.
We levy 4.9, but historically we get about 1.2%, and about 36% of my budget goes back to villages and cities, towns inside the township. So I share a portion of my budget with them. I think it's a good budget. We use it just about as much as we can, try to stretch the budget.
Any questions on the budget?
How's the salt going this year?
We're right at the maximum right now.
You have a maximum in storage, or you use
We're 100 tons short.
your 100 ton short?
100 tons short, and once we go get those, if we have to get more than that, then the price goes up a little bit.
Is the county selling it to you at the house?
Well, not higher prices, they've got a co-op going where everybody can purchase salt through them. And we're getting it right now, I think it's $81 a pound. It's up a little bit from last year, but it's, historically,
I've
it's
seen it
still,
from 120 to 50
yeah.
over the years.
Yeah, I remember one year it was 140.
140, right? 2008.
Bad year. A lot of snow.
Projects that you're working on this year?
We got a few projects. One is Reese Lake. We're going to try to reduce some flooding in that area out there by 80th Street. I hope to get that in the spring. It all depends on what we can get. We had a hard time getting our culverts last year. Prices went up, and we got our culverts about 6 weeks late. We had some left over from the year before the period, so we do have some this year. It's a challenge to get this stuff sometimes.
Everything is hard to get these days.
Plastic and metal.
Yeah.
Concrete doesn't seem to be too bad, but we don't use a lot of that. That's the problem.
Asphalt plants have any problem?
No asphalt plants, we were getting the asphalt right up till December. That's right. We had a good run. Cost was actually, what we did early last year, I think we got a really good price on it. Been told by our engineers that we're not going to see that price anytime soon.
Is that something that you get on early enough? You get it for the whole year?
Well, we did for our paving projects, full mix, and when we buy asphalt for our own projects, it is what it is. But when we bid for like all the roads that we're going to have paved by a contractor, that's in that bid. And we got a real good bid last year. A couple of years ago, we got a real bad bid. It came in about $30,000 over the engineer's estimate. So we decided to wait. Paving the next year, we had 2 paving programs the next year, and it came in 30% under budget there. So we ended up saving more money that year. We just had to put things off.
What do you anticipate the cost being for fuel this year? How are we figuring that in?
I don't know. We try to, figure a little more in than what we had. Last couple of years, it's been good, so it started going up again last fall. Right now, it's still not so bad with diesel.
How many miles of road do you have this year?
Just under 70.
Is that good steady in your watch?
Yeah. Yeah, we lost a little bit, maybe 5 miles or so. Villages have picked it up here and there.
It's still the most in the county, isn't it? It's still the most road surface.
Several months, Milton is ahead of us now.
Milton?
Yeah, they have like 80 miles.
Your projects.
Well, I'd like to commend you and your group for what you did for the tornado. That was quite an undertaking, so appreciate all that you did for that.
Good teamwork.
Yes, well. With that, if there's any public testimony for the road, take that at the moment. Carol, do you have any public comments for the road, for the, with that? Any other questions from anybody here? We are to vote on this now. So do I have a motion to approve Andy's budget for the 2022-2023 year?
That we approve the highway commissioner's budget for 2022-2023.
Second.
And all in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
Trustee Oker,
Aye.
trustee Ricordati,
Aye.
trustee Stoll. Aye. Supervisor Colter.
Aye. So that passes. With that, I think we will close the hearing for public. A couple minutes early though.
You could leave it open until 6:45, and at 6:45 we'll convene the next hearing.
Okay.
In case somebody walks in the next few minutes.
Mike's not. There it is.
Next meeting's at St. Patty's. You gonna be comfortable with that?
Why are you asking me?
She has a green pen.
I noticed that, I'm thinking, oh, wow. I'll just plan for something after 8. That's, yes.
Yeah, they are.
When they're on, when do they start?
About 4:30.
4:30?
I was talking with Dave. Yeah, the truck's all loaded up, they're ready to go, starting to get slick at that point.
Yeah. It's the last snowstorm of the winter, did you know that?
I hope so.
I called. That's what they said.
That-
What's the number? What's the number? I'll tell you later. I don't want to give it out on. Yeah, I understand. Meeting?
Okay, it is now 6:45, so we will close the hearing for the road budget for 2022-2023. And I will now call the meeting to order for the public hearing for the general fund budget and appropriation ordinance of fiscal year 22-23. Includes the township general fund, IMRF, and general assistance. Ray, would you call the roll?
Trustee Alford?
Present.
Trustee Stoll? Present. Trustee Ricordati?
Present.
I will note that trustee Ferguson is absent and supervisor Coltrane.
Good present. So we have a quorum. And do I have a motion to waive the clerk reading of the public notice, copies of which are available and posted on the township website?
So moved.
Any discussion? Here, Lorraine, call the roll.
Trustee Alford?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll? Aye. Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Supervisor Coltrane.
Aye. We have, that has passed, so we have waived the reading. So next up is the general fund presentation by myself, and I'm also going to have Assessor Bowles talk about his part of the budget as well. So 2022-23 budget, I do have some work that still needs to be done here in the senior center, including a sound system and some soundproofing, among other things that need to be finished up in here. I have a couple new hires that I need to do. I have noticed there's an increase for our health insurance. Also, it's going to be an increase, most likely, in the property and work comp insurance. I think last year it went up by over 40%. I anticipate this year it's going to go up 10 to 15. I think part of last year's was adding this building into it, so we had the rates go up on there. Like Andy, I'm still dealing with trying to figure out the cost of utilities. Natural gas prices are rising. The cost of properly heating two buildings is going to rise too. We are going to be using this building this year a lot more because COVID hopefully is on its way out. And so we already have many classes already going here. So we have that. We're also working on the cemetery, which has been neglected for years. Process of cleaning it up and removing some dead trees, and that's going to cost some money. And then, quite frankly, the needs of seniors, people who are in need and youth have increased, we are increasing the programs for all of those. So that's part of my increases. But I think it's a very good budget, and I think it's going to help serve all the needs of our community. That's how goals would you like to go over yours as well?
Absolutely. As we're all aware, I guess the top of the line numbers is we're down slightly from our budget request, and the final budget was approved last year. Even with a 6% projected overall inflation rate, it's going to be a challenge. I know we're talking to builders, we talked to a lot of people that are out there building. Many of the projects that are out there are suffering big time from what their projections were on costs. I heard one developer that was talking to us the other day at a place I was at, and they said, he goes, if we haven't broken ground yet, we're going to have to delay the project even if they've already acquired the land. This was just this person's opinion, but he had said, things are so out of control and cost for everything that it's hard to continue. And that was, I hear that fairly regularly from people, so we're happy to be able to hold it, to be able to cut it back a little bit. One of the challenges we did have this year, and it still is unfortunate, is that we weren't able to move forward with some of the planning for the staffing we're going to do, so we could get well positioned for the next general reassessment that's just around the corner here, due to some of the challenging situation with the budget process last year. But I thank you all for on the board this year to come back into compliance with how it was done, and we are looking forward to next year to be able to do it. By the time we actually got things put in place where I had the authority to do it, we're running right up on time to the closing the books for the year. We're in the hearing season, in the 30-day period. At that point, it's really difficult to bring somebody on board. And it's the most critical time that we provide our customer service to all of our residents. And it's critical that we be able to get back to as many residents as quickly as possible, so we don't have to jam up the system in the county and the state. When the residents get their service right away, we can review information and get their answers. And it saves a tremendous amount of time for the county. And again, that's some of the Property Tax Appeal Board, which saves and helps the school boards and every taxing body out there. That's the first thing I was told from every school district, which we know they're all having challenges of all of it to provide education, period. So one of the things I promised all of them was we do our very best to make sure that we resolve issues that need to be resolved at our level, so we can clog up the system all the way. We unfortunately too, we had planned on doing a mailer. There's appears to be quite a few seniors that aren't taking advantage of their senior exemptions for whatever reason. Unfortunately, the delay in getting the budget, by the time we could actually do it, we saw the stuff going on with COVID and stuff. We had the variants come in, and I just did not feel comfortable sending a mailer while the post office was doing mail all along. We didn't want to send a mailer out to thousands of seniors, asking them to reach out to us. Seniors usually come in, and we send them to, if you say you can call us, they usually come in. And last year's hearing, there was some discussion about the mail was absolutely the mail was working. I really wanted to respond to that resident to tell them that yes, we know the mail's working. But bringing seniors out of the house or suggesting they come out was just not something we're comfortable with the year before, and I wasn't comfortable doing that once we had the budget approval. So that's some of the stuff like printing and postage. We just put it off again. So hopefully in the next year we'll be able to do it. I want to make sure that all of our seniors, it's very important to give them the opportunity to realize what is out there for them, because it is tough, especially with this 6% or more inflation that our people are suffering through right now, and who knows the future. So we're happy for a slight decrease, and I respectfully ask that the board approve our budget.
Great. Next up is public testimony. Is there any questions or comments?
We have a few minutes, so if you'll indulge me while I sit. I'd just like to ask some general questions. These are not in any way intended to imply anything in any direction on any particular topic. Just the sorts of things I would ask if this were my building in their budget. So, just kind of going through it page by page a little bit, see that we have some increase, actually a lower estimated revenues. Yeah, I guess it comes out from different areas, so it's actually increased. The estimated revenues are increased, and I assume that that's part of where the money is coming from. For some of the other increases I see on the budget. The supervisor's budget is going up $300,000. The assessor's budget, and these are round numbers, $243,000, and human services $40,000 is what I see. Looking at some of the specifics, looks like health insurance is going up quite a bit, workers' comp a little bit, unemployment insurance.
Excuse me, you have a question for us? Is
Yes.
there a question you want to ask anybody, or are you just making statements about it?
I'm just noting things, which I'm sort of inquiring about if there's anything significant that you would like to respond with regard to a statement I'm making, that would be fine.
Yes,
Okay,
can I
there
respond?
might be, if some,
Yeah, can I-
slow down a little.
Can I respond to the fact that my budget did not go up? It actually went down.
Okay.
Yes, I want to make sure that the budget that was approved, when complying with these state laws, as noted by Steve's attorney, my budget actually went down. The final approved budget for last year was $1,246,630, and my budget now requests is $1,243,130.
Okay.
So I would like to note it went down.
Thank you for that
Thank you. Thanks,
clarification.
Scott.
Because I'm basing my questions on budget ordinance to budget ordinance.
Well, there was a budget, the first budget ordinance was, if you look at all the stuff on the website, you will address what the issue was with it.
Yes, I remember some of the discussion that occurred at
Yes,
that
ma'am.
point in time. But I'm working with the budget ordinances I can find easily on the website, and that was actually none, but I did find some.
They're actually
So it might
right
have
next
been
to each
another
other.
one, but-
They're right next to each other on the website. There's one on one line, and right below it is the final approved one.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right, so some of my questions may not reflect those changes that were made in the budget, because those are not the two budgets I'm comparing. I'm comparing the original and the other, and it's not, again, if this was my staff's budget, these are sort of the things I would be looking at myself. It's not intended to apply anything at all. Total contractual services, looks like you've combined telephone, internet, and website, is that correct?
That is correct. We now have a Comcast system that takes into account everything, yes.
Okay,
And it actually went down slightly.
okay, and the liability insurance seems to have gone up?
We do not get our policy until, our policy year is June to June, so that's an estimated amount. Based on what current conditions are. As I said, last year, it went up tremendously, it went up 40%. The liability, it says liability, but that's also the building insurance. as well.
Oh, okay, thank you, thank you for that clarification. Just trying to learn here, okay? Building repair and improvements. You mentioned a few things in your statement, and I assume that is both buildings and you mentioned maybe some AV and some sorts of things in this building.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what some of the repair and improvement?
Okay, so improvements in here, the main ones are, as you can tell, we need a new speaker system. We need we need a speaker system that was supposed to have been in the building, but was taken out at the last minute. We also need this to be soundproof. I was in here earlier today talking with someone, we're 3 feet apart and it was echoing all over the place. So
Yes.
to make this a building that's fit for seniors especially, because that's what it was, the main thing it's designed for. We need to have that improved. We also have an issue, the other building is older, and I can tell you that the HVAC has got some issues because my office is freezing every day. I walk right outside my door and it's like hot. So that building is 50 or 60 years old.
It's not new.
So it has issues that need to be fixed.
All right. Thank you. Moving then into the assessor's budget, one of the things that I noticed here is that your professional services has increased over this first budget that I'm looking at from last year. Is there something specific that your service that is,
You're looking at the wrong budget. If my budget is reduced each year, you're looking at an inaccurate budget. The budget was inappropriately done for the state's attorney, and if you look year by year, so I'd be happy to.
I'm just inquiring as to what you plan to spend the $50,000 on.
But that's not what you asked. You said it increased.
Well,
So-
it appears increased, but the point is,
Carol, so what your question is? Yeah, I'd be happy to share the questions with you,
okay,
but I want to make sure that the record states, says it appears, doesn't appear. I'd be happy to go over the numbers with you first, so we can get it on the record as to what actually the numbers are. Because I know you're very good, and we've been good friends for a long time. Let's make sure we understand what the actual numbers are. So the budget for professional services has gone down for the third year in a row, and the decrease in the professional services from $38,000 in fiscal year 2021. So I don't know if you want to correct your note you have there. So we're talking the same, that's the approved budget, $38,000 to $33,000. And that is a budget line item that is used for things such as if we have to do appraisals, right? And to correct last year's understanding. It has nothing to do, and it did have no information on it for something that was terminated several years ago for a former outside consultant that worked here it was here assigned on a regular basis. There are other things such as attorney's fees. So I think the budget you're working on, it was actually zero.
thank you. Yes, it was zero.
Yeah, and that, I can't live, I have to actually have an attorney because I
I'm
actually.
not certain.
Well, you asked me what to explain what it's going to be used for, so I'm going to tell you. Under the state law, there are three types of appeals that can be filed. There's a market appeal, a one that's based on uniformity, and also contention of law. And that's where you're looking at the legal precedent for something. Regularly, we have to use attorneys to help us defend that because I'm not an attorney. So there are other issues that come up on that we would need to have legal assistance on and or appraisal assistance if we have a tough one. We would actually just be able to deal with a apartment complex where we're able to engage the services of an appraiser, and we're able to have a request to reduce an appeal through the PTAB, that the actual appellant pulled the appeal because we clearly supported with the use of appraisal, saving quite a bit of assessed value and making it fair to save the taxpayers a lot of money with no refund. So that's what that line item is for, and we have been managing it. It actually is an overall reduction in how the department, how the assessor's office operates. And thank you so much for asking about it because it gave me an opportunity to actually clarify how it's actually done. So again, it's a reduction, and it's a reduction year on year. So thank you.
Sure, my pleasure.
I appreciate that, Joe.
Again, the purpose of my question was not to say, you raised the value or the amount budgeted that much over last year. It's just that one of the things that jumped out between the two forms.
Sure.
So it made me curious as to what that money was spent for, and you answered that. That's okay.
Thank you so much. And now you have the correct budget, so that's great. Thank
Actually,
you.
I have a correct budget, but I already had that correct budget. So, but thank you. It's the last year's, prior year's budget that I have that.
Sorry.
Okay, we tried. I appreciate it. So, let's see. I think we kind of brought this to a close, but I did have some questions on general assistance too, but I don't want to go over a lot of time for this.
I have two things to say very quickly. Just for the record, I'm not necessarily in favor of reduced budgets all the time.
No.
I believe we are in the public service business, and if we want to keep this, standards the same, an increase our services, we can't always have reduced budgets. So if things go up a little, just like at home, things go up. Salt goes up, gas goes up, especially now we're heading into a certain time. So I have no problem with budgets going up as long as we are all fiscally responsible, and I think we are. So, and I have no problem with your questions. We have to have public comment, and it's unfortunate that you're the only one here. So this is no adversarial relationship. I just want you to know that I am in favor of increased services as long as we're responsible. And I think this board is so far. So that's number one.
Okay.
And number two, I want for the record, when supervisor said that the microphone system, the sound system was eliminated at the last minute, he meant the previous administration
Yes.
that was not here.
Yes.
So we are stuck now in spending money for a sound system for this room that really should have been in place before any of us were elected.
Believe me, I understand.
Okay.
I work we constructed a new building that is the size of 7 soccer fields, and they opted to save money by not putting in an intercom system.
Correct.
I mean, what do you do in an emergency?
In the new world,
Yeah.
hopefully you will be standing up here at a microphone system with a podium, and we will all be able to hear, with or without masks. So not,
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're stuck now having to spend for this, and we'll get it right.
Okay.
But I just wanted to,
Probably would have been cheaper back then.
yeah, sure, of course, and it's sensible.
I used to be 20 years in the architecture and engineering business. I can see what Dave's saying. Not having access to the roof
Right.
from the inside. Yeah, Carol, I'm not an engineer, but you and I talked for years, and you are. Can you imagine building a building in this day and age with a lip on the outside? But the prior administration took the access to the building out to be able to say, climb up on the outside of a ladder. Could you imagine today's risk of climbing up in a storm on the outside? That's just crazy. Again, I'm an engineer, but it's concerning.
Yes.
And so
I understand completely.
And I appreciate you, Carol. We've always had a friendly relationship, and you always ask good questions, and I just want to make sure.
Well,
But
I
ask
can't,
me
we're going to sit here for 15 minutes.
Sure.
We may as well talk about something. And I noted some of the things that had gone up and some of the things that had gone down, so.
I would like to share, there is a couple things, one thing that did go up on my budget from the approved budget, the other is unemployment insurance.
I did notice.
And that actually went up $4,000, and that's simply based on the state gives 8% that they do, and we're really tied to that, and we try to estimate it as best we can, but the impact of it, when I submit my budget, I don't always have that percentage, how the timing it comes out, but that's the only, actually even line item, I think that has gone up, that I would like to make sure, I want to make, I'm into transparency, but we're trying hard to do it, but there will be a time when you're looking at 6%, 7% inflation we're dealing with. There might be a time that we're going to start seeing our budgets going up just simply by costs are out of control for all of us.
Yeah,
But thank you.
yeah, this is a different world than it was a while back. And I understand that, and I understand things go up and things go down. But again, we've got budgets here and talking about it. Things that catch my eye for whatever reason are the things that I talk about. So, but I think we have gone over our allotted time for this.
I'd like to thank you, Carol. I think one of the things that has opened my eyes in taking over this role is how much people are really in need of DuPage County and in Delaware Township. We think DuPage County, we think Rich. There are a lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people. I hired an extra youth service person to go into the schools, and the stories they tell me just break your heart. So I think, we are in a different day and age, and we need to make sure that our services stand up. So I appreciate that. Do you have any other questions?
I don't want to go beyond the allotted time.
Okay.
I do have other questions, but we can take those offline.
Okay, great. With that, do we have any trustee discussion? Any other questions? Okay, with that, I will close this hearing and we will approve the budget at our regular meeting. This meeting of the public hearing for the Township General Fund IRMA General Assistance is over. Okay. Okay, I'd like to call to order the February 24th, 2022 meeting of Downers Grove Township Board of Trustees. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. When you call roll.
Trustee Oakman?
Present.
Trustee Stoll?
Present.
Trustee Ricordati?
Present.
I will note that trustee Ferguson is absent and supervisor Colton.
Present. We have a quorum. With that, we will start with public comment. Do you have any public comment?
No.
Okay, we do have one email. It was from Mary Lemansky. She said, hello, in 2018, then Republican Governor Bruce Romer signed an executive order abolishing nepotism in state government hiring. I urge the Downers Grove Township Board to adopt a similar policy. Also, many of the people who benefit from the township services are elderly, and it's difficult for them to attend the meetings sometimes. For transparency and in consideration of those who use its services, I believe the township should go back to our Zoom meetings as an option. And with that, we have no other public comment. So we will move on to the motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting from January 20th, 2022 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Do we have any discussion? Lorraine, will you take roll?
Trustee Oakman?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Supervisor Colton?
Aye. That passes. Next up, we have a motion to approve the trustee audit, approval of the bills and claims as presented. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Lorraine, could you take roll?
Trustee Oakman?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Supervisor Colton?
Aye. Motion passes. The next one is the motion to approve the search contract with Milton Township and Downers Grove Township. This is a shared expense of the Highway Department and it's an annual contract. And I just want to say the last time we passed this one, about a week later, we had a tornado. So I will say that search was a tremendous, tremendous help to us in getting stuff taken care of. And I really probably agree with that. So I definitely think we need to approve this. So, Lorraine, what do you think? Do we have
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Our total cost here is $1,500, right? Section 2, $1,500 for the entire year?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And well worth the money. That's for sure. Lorraine?
We don't have a motion.
Oh, we don't have a motion. Okay.
So moved.
The second.
Okay, Lorraine, take roll.
Trustee Oakman?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Supervisor Colton?
Aye. Motion passes. And next up is to approve the CERT contract with Milton Township and Downers Grove Township for the road district. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Lorraine?
Trustee Oakman?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Supervisor Colton?
Aye. Your motion approved. Next up is the motion to approve the general town fund budget 2022-23 as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I second the motion.
Any discussion? Lorraine, take roll.
Trustee Ricordati?
Aye.
Trustee Oakman?
Aye.
Trustee Stoll?
Aye.
Supervisor Colton?
Aye. Your motion passes. Next up, this is supervisor's report. I'm going to give part of my time to Mary to talk a little bit about who was at the senior advisory committee, well, our meeting for that. So,
Yeah, I've been appointed to the liaison to the Senate Advisory Committee, and the council meeting was on February 7th, and I was only present for half a meeting, but I can report back that the council had not met for 2 months. So basically, it started out, people introduced gave a little intro, the board members, and I introduced myself, and they also welcomed 2 new members. It was reported that the Westmont Park District lately, for their meetings and activities, I guess, they haven't had no attendance, but they're planning, activities still for the future. They're sponsoring a senior fair on May 6th. In addition, Julie Larson of the DuPage County Senior Services gave a Zoom presentation that's available on our township website entitled "The Passive Neglect and the Role of the Family Caretaker." And that is available on our website if anybody's interested. George, I don't know his last name, for the AARP, reported that they're waiting to do programs, for example, the car safety programs that they've done in the past, and that's kind of pending due to COVID. So they're working on vamping those programs once COVID continues to level off. Sheila Bain is part of the General Assistance Program. I think she's the go-to person, from what I understand. And she alerted us at the council meeting that there's money available for water assistance. People who have their water shut off. But there is money available for those who need it, and that's at the county level. Let's see what else here. Of interest, the Clarendon Hills Park District on March 14th is holding a pie day. I don't know what that means, but some activity for seniors.
March 14th is the mathematical number 3.1.
Is that high?
That's just pi.
Okay. So March 14th, they have it on that day. You're right. So I hope I got the date right. It wasn't
It has
just.
to be, it's a pi.
That's interesting. And then the Burridge Park District and the Willowbrook Park District were kind of coordinating efforts. I guess Willowbrook did not have an actual park district, but Willowbrook is splitting off from the Burridge Park District and expanding. They're still going to, Burridge will still do activities, but they're just kind of splitting, becoming independent. Willowbrook must be forming their own park district. And unrelated to the Senior Advisory Council meeting I attended on Zoom, February 7th, just last Thursday there was a activity in this room held by a local wealth management group, and it was called Solving the Retirement Puzzle. And I believe 40 people signed up and 34 attended, so it was well attended. I just thought I'd take note of that because people must have been interested. It was a good turnout. And I heard Carol had attended, and she said it was very, she said the word nice, so I think it means interesting. And that's all I have. That was Kathy Rager that attended.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, thank you very much. That was actually the first thing on my supervisor's report, the Friends for Township Bible series. So there was 34 people.
Oh, wait, was that a different event?
No, that's the same. That's
Oh,
what
it's called the Survivors of God.
Yeah. Secretary of State will be hosting their mobile office event here in the Senior Center building on April 5th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the first time they've been held here in the Senior Center. It's always been held in the old building, the northern of the old building. So we have a bigger room in here now. So that's the other issue. So.
What is that?
So I'll repeat this. So Secretary of State is hosting a mobile office event here, so you can renew your driver's license, you can get your sticker gun, you cannot get the real ID, you cannot do that. But, so they'll be here from 10 to 2 on April the 5th. Township will be hosting a shredding event in the parking lot on Saturday, May 14th, from 9 to 11, paper products only. And on Tuesday, March 15th, Pierce Tavern will be donating 10% of all proceeds from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. to the Friends of Downers Grove Township Seniors. This includes sit-down and take-out orders as well. The Friends of Downers Grove Township Seniors sponsors events like the Seniors vital skills, donates to us to help run this building. And finally, just to note, the township is now offering notary services. So if you need anything notarized, we have 4 people in the supervisor's office now that can do that for you. And I know the assessor's office is doing it a lot. But that is all I have.
How can we promote the Downers Grove Township meeting at the first camera? How about just put it on the website?
We will be putting it on next door. We will be getting it out. We'll be putting flyers out. With that, we have the highway commissioner's report. Oh. There you go.
I have a question about the recycling. How
Yes.
many bags do you use shredding?
Don't know. We have one truck full. We got one truck that's going to be good. We are trying this as a, they kind of recommend between 1 and 2 trucks. We're going to have one full truck here, so I don't know if there's a limit.
First of all, to answer, I would like to know that, I think the first month I was with the assessor, we had all the deputy assessors file for the because I think the private policy was early. Sorry? Third, a little bit of history. When I first became the assessor, there were 2 people in the office, I believe it was, that had the notaries. So it was really difficult to schedule everything in the assessor's office. So it's very, very inexpensive to get the assessors, to get the notary. So there's so many documents, especially at that time, that we didn't know that we had notarized. So we just, everybody had notaries. I think it's good because there's so many people that come through and they're looking for a notary. It's practically nothing. And it's great because we come in and out and work with them all the time. We're in offices open all the time. Yeah, there's a process you go through. You have to check ID and stuff like that to make sure what you're doing, and we check it. There's all kinds of forms and various forms. Depending on what's happening during the COVID situation we got now, there's forms that the county stopped asking for notaries at this time, but they're going to come back. And for instance, the senior freeze, is one where you typically have gone through and looked at the income and we all people fill it out and we'll help them sign it. We'll make copies for the seniors, and then we'll actually, when we have packages going out, we'll deliver stuff out to the county. But the challenge we've had since COVID started, and we never know until the last minute whether the state's going to roll it over and say you don't need to have the freeze form done again. If you had it last year, you can do it this year, or if you only have to apply, seniors have to apply for a freeze if it's new. So it's very, very confusing on the freeze as to what actually the state's going to do, and it usually comes out at the last minute. So we start getting a lot of senior phone calls saying what's going on. It's very, very difficult to give them information on it on a regular basis because we're constantly calling our representatives what's going to happen if we won't make the decision, if we pass it, as soon as possible so we can get the information out, get our websites updated, and get things at the county level and everything else and say this is what it's doing. We do our best. I send emails out. I've got a very extensive email list that we built up. I think it's 4 times as big as it was when I first started, or maybe 5 times now. We're trying to get everybody on it to get it out there. Because seniors, they want to know what's going on and they get interest immediately. And I think it's commendable that it was rolled over so they don't have to come out and question whether it is. Same thing, for instance, like the senior exemption form. It used to be the seniors had to do it every single year. I kept saying, I watched my parents get all nervous about it until they get it done, wait for that form to get it done. And when I first became the assessor, I said, generally, we know when someone is not there anymore. You have those records coming through. So you either, you're still a senior, moved.
Nobody goes the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go down. So now the county has actually, they don't require you to do the senior exemption form every year. So that way the seniors aren't getting on the counties
What was
together.
the effective date of that?
I believe that was 2018, 19, I'm not sure, I can't remember which year it was, but it took some, working with the county and all the assessors who put their heads together with the counties and looked at what the laws were. That's the county's decision on what they do, but we kind of looked at it and said, does this actually have, what complies with the state law, but still allows to help us serve our seniors the best possible way. So I think that everybody work hard to do that, but we do have to follow the laws, and so we can try to get it out there as soon as we can. can and work with the seniors. And we also had the earliest close that we've had. Since I've been here, the team tells me it's one of the earliest ever. We were able to get the books closed right after the Labor Day, which means that anybody that had reviews, request reviews, they were able to get done, close out the hearing season substantially before the holidays. So residents weren't able to have to be putting information together, done historically that are holidays, we were distracted, we were able to get it handled, and substantially, most of them, everything that we're trying to investigate, it required appropriately an adjustment we're trying to take care of, and we're getting positive feedback. We do, as often as possible, we do surveys on our website to actually ask people what they think, and we're working on some improvements to the website as well to be able to make it easier. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to pick their comps and understand how to do an appeal. We really try to make it so they can actually just send us information swiftly. We can look at it, and hopefully they don't have to file an appeal. Because again, it saves a lot of time for the county, the state, if we could just help the people that have questions. So that's kind of where we're at with the assessment. I want to get that overview, and we'll continue to try to do that. Again, I want to thank everybody for approving the budget, because that gives us the resources, and we'll continue to try to run efficiently as we can. But yes, Mr. Everybody, there are times that you've got to do it, and commend all of you people that make it came in, because it's been a healthy environment for the staff, the residents. We get compliments all the time. It just feels good in this building, and they get very positive feedback. So thank you for all you've been doing.
Thanks.
Thank you. Highway Commissioner.
Yeah, we've had kind of a wild month. In the last month, the highway department has been working on these following projects. Most of our time was spent working on snow and rain-related issues. We plowed and salted our routes. A few storms hitting late in the morning, right before rush hour, and a few hitting late in the afternoon, right before the evening rush hour. Those are always they're always troublesome because you're trying to get the roads cleaned up and you can't get the traffic. It's a lot easier to go out at 3 in the morning. We had several rain events which required the crew to open up and try to keep clean our 820 basins in the township. 2 of these events caused localized flooding, which required the crew to place barricades on a few of our flooded streets. We also had several windy days, which the crew were called out to cut up and remove several large limbs which are hanging in trees or laying across the road. We repaired and replaced a few mailboxes damaged during our snow plowing events. Several days were devoted to patching potholes brought about by the freeze-thaw cycles we experienced in late July and early February. And the crew also resumed tree trimming off of work orders in the Farmingdale subdivision, as well as repairing damaged signs from some of the snow events that were hit by cars, and replacing a few just because of basic maintenance needs. And that's what we've been doing for the last month.
All right. Thank you for keeping us up to date on that. Any old business we need to talk about? And I have no new business, so we do not need to move to executive session, so I will take the motion to adjourn.